Back in 1969, you could go down to your local American Motors dealership, plunk down less than $3,000 and drive out in a car that would chase down Cobra Jet Mustangs and GTOs, and you'd look like Captain America doing it. One of the best ways to build a car that goes fast and is fun to drive is to start with something small and lightweight. And that's exactly what happened with this car. It's a 1969 Hurst SC Rambler, which started life as an AMC Rambler Rogue is what it was called. And Hurst did a little play on words with the SC/Rambler. A lot of people call these Scramblers because that's what the name looks like. In fact, the SC stood for Supercar, which is exactly what the Hurst crew built. The American Motors Corporation wasn't really known for building high-performance race cars. They were more of a family sedan or economical car kind of company. AMC worked with Hurst to come up with a car that could compete in NHRA F-Stock drag racing. And they didn't know that it was going to be as successful as it was because they originally intended on only building about 500 of these. And when the end of the line was reached, they had made 1,512 copies of the SC Rambler. And the cool thing about this car is it's small, it's lightweight, it's got a ton of power, it looks awesome, and it really performed well at a low price. And not many muscle cars had all of these features going for them. But the little Rambler didn't have any sound deadener, it didn't have anything else to be considered a creature comfort. The only stuff that's here was here to make it go fast. And when you open the hood, the first thing you notice is it's got this big gigantic scoop on top, and this engine made 315 horsepower and 425 foot-pounds of torque. They pulled it right out of the AMX, which was another high-performance car, but not as much of a dedicated race car as the Scrambler was. It was coupled to a T10 4-speed transmission, of course shifted by a Hurst shifter, and that ran into the twin grip differential, which was a semi-locking differential with 354-to-1 rear gears. And that package of the 390 and the 4-speed and that gear ratio, coupled with the lightweight of this car, pushed these to low 14-second quarter miles right off the showroom floor. So they were certainly fast enough to surprise some of the bigger muscle cars from Pontiac and Ford and even Chrysler. But the cool thing was the price tag was less than $3,000. One of the neatest things about this car is the contrast. I mean, there's so many things going on outside and so little going on inside. It's pretty cool. It's got like a split bench seat instead of buckets, and they're just kind of a dark gray, but the red, white, and blue stripes are augmented in the headrest. So, you know, some cool details there, but the rest is bare bones race car, man. It's got just a tack screwed to the steering column, a 4-speed handle on the floor, but there's no heater, there's no radio, minimal gauges. This was made to be as light as possible to get you down the racetrack. But of course, on the outside, it's like this crazy party of patriotism and colors going on. In fact, there was 2 different paint schemes available for this car. This one has the big red and white and the medium blue stripe down the middle. The other paint scheme wasn't quite as radical. It had the same colors, but it didn't have the big stripes. It had kind of a light blue stripe down here. But it's cool to see they carried it into the wheels, and anywhere they could kind of wrap in this red, white, and blue theme, they did. I mean, after all, it was American Motors. But the best part is always under the hood. And here you've got a 390-inch AMC V8, ran low 14s all day long, even on these little skinny tires. There is no way you're going to be subtle in a Rambler Scrambler. I mean, everybody's going to turn their head and see this thing. When you're driving an American flag down the track, people are going to notice. George Hurst was all about making these cars look cool. So these actually came in a couple different paint schemes, known as the A scheme and the B scheme. The car we're looking at today is wearing the A paint scheme with the bright red, white, and blue stripes, and of course the arrow pointing into the hood scoop and the blacked out tail panel. There's a registry for these cars online that has, I think, about 360 cars registered now, which is pretty neat considering they only made 1,512. And the vast majority so far are A color scheme paint jobs. If you open the door on one of these cars, there's a tag that's got some numbers on it, and this one says special under the paint area, and that means that it's got one of the crazy paint jobs on it. But apparently there's about 8 different versions of nomenclature on the tag, so it's hard to tell if the car came with the A scheme or the B scheme just based on the tag. These cars also had a stripe color painted steel wheel. It's kind of like a mini Magnum 500 wheel. It's a 14-inch wheel, but that was unique to this car. And the side mirrors, and you've seen these before if you watch Muscle Car of the Week. This is a slightly smaller version of the same mirror used on the 69 Hurst Olds. They also came with a Thrush muffler and a chrome exhaust tip. And if you're restoring one of these cars, you're going to pay a lot of money to find another set of those Thrush mufflers. The fender lips were all pinched so that bigger tires would fit underneath them. The rear suspension is a leaf spring design, which isn't normally good for drag racing because the leaf springs can twist and cause wheel hop and bad traction. Well, this has kind of a traction bar set up, and they also staggered the shock absorbers, one in front, one in rear of the rear axle, to keep the axle from jumping and to give it better traction. And if these things weren't fast enough off the showroom floor, AMC was selling more performance parts under their Category 19 brand that you could beef them up even more. You could get a different camshaft, a different intake manifold, add a different rear gear, all the way up to a 488-to-1. So this was not only a great car to race as it was, but it had plenty of potential beyond that. And this little device allows fresh air to come in through the hood scoop when you step on the gas. Of course, this was called the mailbox hood scoop. And, well, speaking of mailboxes, we'd like to take a second to thank all of our AMC fan viewers who have flooded our email boxes here at Muscle Car of the Week saying, where are all the AMC cars? Well, we appreciate you holding on, and we told you we'd make good on it. There are a handful of cool AMC cars in the Brothers collection, and we'll do everything we can to bring them right to your screen. Don't forget to check out the Facebook page and the website, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, where you'll never miss an episode of Muscle Car of the Week.